So today we're going to be talking about InFlow and the integration to QuickBooks. So first thing we want to do is take a look at the integration settings. So I'm going to click on integrations, and I've already connected my QuickBooks. I'm going to click on QuickBooks Online, and you see there's two options. You can enable sales orders and purchase orders and inventory. So I'm going to click on the purchase orders and inventory, and it opens up here. So you can always turn this on and off. So if you don't want anything pushed, you can turn it off. You can always push your inventory value manually. And when you want to, just come over here, hit push inventory value. Here you have your settings for your account numbers from QuickBooks, your cost of goods sold, inventory asset, adjustments, taxes. Here you can sync payments. Again, you can turn this on or off. Do you want it to push and pull in both directions, just push payments, or just pull payments? You can also push refunds, and that's also setting your turn on and off. And you'll also have, if you're going to make payments, in InFlow, an account for your checks and credit cards. So now I'm going to take a look at sales order settings. Again, if I don't want to push any sales orders, I could turn this off. So you also have the option of syncing payments. So if you want to push and pull payments in both applications, you would set this here, or you just want to push payments or just pull payments. Same thing with refunds, you could turn this on and off. And then for payments, for if you're entering payments in InFlow, here's your payments account, which can sync to your QuickBooks account. Tax settings, that gets pulled over from QuickBooks based upon your settings there. So let's do a transaction. I'm going to create a purchase order and have that synced over to QuickBooks. So I'm going to select my vendor. I'm going to add my products. So when you set up vendors, you have to set them up in both systems. If you make a change to one vendor account, you have to change it in both places. So I'm going to add a product, and I'm going to do my front door. And I'm going to change the quantity to 3. Okay. For the sake of speed, I'm just going to receive it, mark it as fulfilled, and it's saved. Now, if I go into my QuickBooks for this vendor, Anderson Windows and Doors, so I'm going over to my expenses and my vendors, and I see Anderson Windows and Doors, and it has one open bill. If I open that up, and that's for the transaction that we just created for this PO 16, what you see here, PO 16. Now let's take a look at what happened on my general ledger. If I go to chart of accounts and I scroll down to my inventory assets and I hit view register, you'll see that the opposite entry is here. So the increase of $600 of inventory has been added here, and the credit goes to accounts payable for that bill. So my inventory balance is now increased to $6,060. Now I'm going to do a similar transaction for a sales order. I'm going to create a sales order. I'm going to add this same product, front door, and going to just do one. And again, just for the sake of time, I'm just going to fulfill it. So now that front door has been fulfilled. Now, if I go into my QuickBooks, I'm just going to refresh my chart of accounts. What we should see is the cost of that item coming out of my inventory value because we just did a sale. Okay, so we see here, this is the sales order for James Brown with a sales order, and it decreased my inventory by the cost of that item. So now you're able to see sales transactions, you're able to see the inventory transactions, and you're able to see the bills that are created based upon the purchase orders that occurred for my store. Now in order for my sales to show here, I would have to go into InFlow and either create the invoice or make a payment. So here, I'm just going to mark this as paid. So now if I go into my QuickBooks, and the alternative is you don't have to mark it as paid, right? You can just send it over as an invoice and then send the invoice from QuickBooks to your customer to be paid. And if I just refresh this, see that invoice has been paid here. So this is the invoice, and since I marked it paid in InFlow, it entered the payment here. So invoice and payment. So that's how the integration works. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.